Good evening and welcome to the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. I'm your regular anchor, Gabriel Ojile. In tonight's episode of the program, we are showcasing the economic importance of maize in terms of food security, job creation, and other opportunities therein, as well as the policy direction of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in enhancing the production of maize. We shall also see some of the research breakthroughs that have boosted maize yield and value addition for greater benefit. But before we do so, we have news from the diary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
The program begins with views from the ministry, its agencies and partners as it concerns the agricultural sector. Do stay tuned.
The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Special Advisor to the President on Policy Coordination and technical teams from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security met in Abuja to set deliverables and priorities to achieve food security in Nigeria. Advisor to the President on Policy Coordination Hadiza Bala Usman set the ball rolling during the meeting.
We felt the need to come here to discuss with you, to make you be part of this document preparation. We believe that performance bonds, key performance indicators, deliverables should be done with the owner of the mandate so that he's very much aware of what is expected of him. And he also contributes to aspects of the delivery that may or may not be within his sphere.
Reacting, the Minister of State, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, assured the team that the ministry would deliver on the food security agenda, which is the first priority of the present administration.
With the very team we met on ground in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to change the narrative and we are going to ensure that that priority Mr. President has placed on food security as his number one out of the 8 priorities is not just achieved, but is achieved in a manner that Nigerian farmers who will be called upon to rise up to the occasion will be proud to call themselves Nigerian farmers.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, who gave the welcome address, and other members of the technical teams deliberated on the deliverables presented and how they could be fine-tuned for actualization. The federal government will partner with the Republic of Ireland to ensure food security and socio-economic development of the both countries. This was disclosed by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Ernest Afolabi Umakihe, during a courtesy visit by the Ireland Minister of Agriculture, Food and Marine. Umakihe stated that the federal government is committed to ensuring that every Nigerian enjoys the right to food as a fundamental human right and to make sure that the country is food secure. He stated that the country will foster partnership with Ireland and other countries that have attained a high level of food security through knowledge sharing, technology and innovation.
The government itself has signed the right to food as a fundamental right of every citizen in this country. So you see, it's something, when we hear any engagement like this for a country that is food secured like Ireland, we are glad and happy to welcome you and share experiences.
Also speaking during the courtesy visit, the Irish Minister of Agriculture, Food and Marine, Charlie McConalogue, who was represented by the Secretary General of the country's Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Marine, Brendan Gleeson, stated that Ireland, with a population of 5 million, is food secure through hard work and commitment. Gleeson added that a lot of Nigerians living in Ireland have contributed positively to the development of the country, thus the desire to partner with Nigeria to ensure food security and improved livelihood of farmers.
we're here to build on our already very strong relationship. There is a growing population of Nigerian origin in Ireland, and they're making a very positive impact to our society, to our economy. We have a number of Nigerian mayors, in fact, of towns, so they're also making a very positive impact on our political system. And we want to build on those relationships. And of course, the kind of partnership we want is one of mutual benefit.
Others who were present during the courtesy visit include Ambassador of Ireland to Nigeria, David Ryan, directors of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, researchers, among others.
Maize is one of the most important crops that is consumed by both humans and animals. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has made policies and programs to enhance the production of this crop. Along this line, the Institute for Agricultural Research, Zaria, has also made tremendous progress to enhance the production of maize in Nigeria. In our next segment, we shall be focusing on the economic importance of maize, policies and programs of the ministry, and the research breakthroughs of the IAR in enhancing the maize value chain. Keep watching.
Maize, also known as corn, is a cereal plant of the grass family with an edible grain. Maize originated from the Americas, and it was first cultivated in southern Mexico about 7,000 to 9,000 years ago. Maize is one of the most widely distributed of the world's food crops. It is used as human food, livestock feed, biofuel, and other industrial purposes. The economic importance of maize are enormous.
Maize grain is the most important of all crops, and I will explain it to you. Because one, not just for the citizen itself, animals also depends on the maize grain in terms of feed formulation, whether for livestock generally, whether it's ruminants, non-ruminants, or livestock, poultry, they depend largely on maize grain for feed formulation. And of course, the citizenry also depends on maize grain because of the number of products that you can get from maize grain. And no wonder the federal government is committed and pay prime attention to maize grain, to maize value chain as a crop of national importance.
The world production of maize between 2022 and 2023 stands at 1.172 billion metric tons. United States produces 354.19 million metric tons of maize. China 274 million metric tons. European Union 58.8 million metric tons. Argentina 55 million metric tons. Ukraine 31.5 million metric tons. Mexico 27.6 million metric tons. Nigeria produces about 18 million metric tons. South Africa 17.3 million metric tons, while Russia produces 15 million metric tons. Maize is widely grown in Nigeria because of its economic importance. It is a crop that grows in all the 36 states and the FCT. However, it is largely grown in Kaduna, Adamawa, Taraba, Kano, Niger, Anambra, Benue, Kwara, Yobe, Jigawa, Ogun, Osun, and Oyo states.
Maize is a very, very important crop. There is nowhere in this country that we don't cultivate maize. The production level in this country is about 18 million metric tons. However, our demand is 23 million metric tons. So there is a huge gap that we need to fill. And that is why the ministry, in its own wisdom, is encouraging farmers to produce more maize. There's a lot of competition on maize. We human beings eat maize, and the poultry also need maize for their animal feeds.
Maize farming in Nigeria, like other crops, is confronted with challenges which include use of unimproved seeds, wrong agricultural practices, low yield per hectare, fall armyworm infestation, stem borer infestation, poor mechanization, lack of funds, high cost of production, among others. To tackle these challenges and enhance production and value chain development, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and other stakeholders have developed policies and programs which include National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Policy, development of improved varieties of maize, input distribution program, capacity building, among others. The National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Policy, which runs from 2022 to 2027, focuses on more innovations and technologies that would further enhance productivity of agriculture, and maize is one of the priority crops in the policy.
The policy is already on ground. That is the National Agricultural Transformation and Innovation Plan. NATIP, we have segregated all these crops into where they should be. There are those for import substitution. There are those that we want to export them. Fortunately, maize happen to fall in the two categories.
The Institute for Agricultural Research, Zaria, a research institute under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, which has maize as one of its mandate crops, has developed over 60 varieties of maize to address the challenge of low yield per hectare.
We have developed maize varieties that whose productivity increased from some 30 years back, virtually 1.5 tons per hectare on the average or less. Now we have maize varieties that can produce up to 8 tons per hectare. This has been an achievement. Farmers are used to our varieties, and this is reflected by the number of requests that we receive by farmers, those that have grown our varieties.
The varieties of maize developed by the Institute for Agricultural Research are not only high-yielding, but also disease-resistant. This has addressed the challenges of pests and diseases faced by maize farmers.
Varieties of maize that are also resistant to attack by the notorious fall armyworm. It's all over in the news that yes, this insect pest is also causing a lot of damages. It's devastating in maize fields. Then we also have another one that is the stem borer. And what I mean by devastation, the level of devastation can lead to 100% loss in terms of yield. But these varieties, they have been evaluated and they have been found to be highly resistant to this notorious insect pest.
The Institute has also developed varieties that are adaptable to climate change and are highly nutritional.
We have varieties that are drought tolerant. When you come to nutrition, we have varieties that give you a lot of proteins. We know that maize generally they have low protein, but we have varieties that are fortified and provide proteins. We have also provitamins. So almost all of our varieties are improved. They are far, far better than the local variety. That is maize.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has over the years developed programs centered on the distribution of these improved varieties of maize and other farm inputs to farmers across the country, as well as build the capacity of farmers.
Input distribution has come to stay. In the southwest, if you go to our store in Ibadan, we have over 100 tons of maize grains for distribution. It's not for eating. You cannot divert it. They are treated. It's for planting. We ensure that. I also mentioned to you that we have not less than 58 tons for the south-south, not less than 59 in the southeast. I've mentioned that. And these things are verifiable.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is also supporting maize farmers across the country with irrigation facilities to produce maize all year round.
Those states that are high level, such as Kaduna, Niger, Adamawa, and so on, are those states that we pay more attention to so that their production should not drop. And we are also encouraging those low-level producers to make sure they can produce as much as possible. But you find out that the constraint is either of land or of ecology that can really allow maize to thrive. So those that have the requisite ecology, we are trying as much as possible by encouraging them with hybrid seeds, agrochemicals. The seeds are even pest resistant or flood resistant depending on the location, and we are making sure that they produce even all year round, including dry season.
The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria, and we are looking at the potentials of maize in Nigeria while examining the production challenges and the efforts of stakeholders to surmount the challenges and enhance the value chain of maize. In the last segment, we saw policies and programs developed by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, as well as the improved varieties developed by the Institute for Agricultural Research in Zaria. But what is the synergy between these stakeholders and farmers as well as other stakeholders, and how has it improved the livelihood of farmers and industrialists? How can this synergy be further enhanced to maximize the potentials of maize in the country? Let us examine this in our next segment, Partnership for Development. Keep watching.
The whole effort of government and other stakeholders in developing the maize value chain is to improve the livelihoods of maize farmers and to ensure food security in the country. This can be achieved by adoption of improved varieties of maize.
By increasing the productivity of maize from 1 ton to 8 tons per hectare, the arithmetic is very simple. You can see how much earning one will make. 1 ton is only 10 bags, and 8 tons is 80 bags. If you do the arithmetic, and with the same cost of production, you are now able to harvest additional 70 bags. This will go a long way in enhancing the income of the farmer.
For farmers to get the support of government, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security collaborates with Maize Farmers Association of Nigeria and other farming clusters, even as it urges maize farmers to join a commodity association.
I really want farmers to be in the association, that is the Maize Farmers Association, because government is looking at using these associations to attract the support and to get the support from government.
Funding for maize farming and other aspects of its value chain, like the processing and marketing, is part of the challenges of the key players. Although the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security does not give loans or grants directly, the Bank of Agriculture can give farmers and processors loans to enhance the maize value chain.
What we do is that we can, if you look at your business interest, if you look at your business proposal, of course, we can link you up with the relevant funding agencies. For instance, the Bank of Agriculture is there, the Bank of Industry is there, in terms you want to go into a cottage a processing plant, for instance, maize processing plant. Of course, we can introduce it, and we have done so in time past. We have doing that, and we'll continue to do that.
The Institute for Agricultural Research also partners with other research institutes and financial institutions to ensure that the maize value chain is better developed.
These development partners could be within or outside the country. And these are what we call the third-party partners. For example, some of them are World Bank. Some of them maybe, that is the Foreign African Development Bank. We have universities abroad that we do collaborate with. We have research institutes, both national and international. ICRISAT, for example, the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IITA. These are examples of some of our collaborators.
Despite all of these efforts, the cost of maize is skyrocketing in the market due to high cost of production. One contributing factor is the high cost of fertilizer. Hopefully, the renewed efforts by the federal government towards reducing the cost of fertilizer will bring the cost of this essential commodity down. Towards this end, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has set up a committee to drive the blending and distribution of fertilizer in the country using the 33,000 metric tons of potash donated to the Nigerian government by Russia's Uralchem Group and UN partners.
You have all been invited to participate in the process required to realize this objective, and from all indications, while it is not a trivial responsibility by any means, I have no doubt that we have the right collection of people and organizations in this room to get the job done. So what, in my view, needs to be done now is to ascertain the availability of the corresponding raw materials that will be needed for the donated potash to produce NPK.
We intend to know, at least to get registration of the status of the blending plants we have, then the current production capacity, their installed capacity, the current stock of raw materials they have, then the type of blends the blending plant can handle, whether dry or wet, then the formulation, whether they need to add micronutrients or not, so that at the end of it all, we'll know exactly what quantity of the potash should go to each of the blending plants.
Thanks for joining us again on the program Transforming Agriculture.
Do you have any question about the agricultural sector?
You have crossbreeds that are fast growing.
The anti-septic poverty as well is also very...
Do you have inquiries on any issues raised on the program?
The fish has been kept here since Monday, that's about 2 days ago.
Would you like to know more on agricultural processes and practice? Do send us an SMS to the number showing on your screen. You can also reach us on any of our social media platforms for more information.
Seeing is believing. In the course of our effort to contribute our quota to transforming agriculture in Nigeria, we spoke to Murtala Jibril, a maize farmer who is using improved seedlings and farming techniques developed by the IAR seeds. Let us hear from him in our next segment, Farmers Speak.
Wannan muna gwaji ne, an ba mu iri ne akan da namu na gida da kuma na kamfani wanda ta ba mu. Jami'a wanda ta ba mu. To dama na gaya muku muna wannan shukan. Wannan ita ne wanda jami'a ta ba mu. Gata. Wannan kuma ita ne namu na gida wanda muke shukawa. To akwai bambanci sosai. Saboda wannan in ka duba tushenta za ga tana da kauri ba kamar wannan ba. Wannan ta yi siriri da yawa haka, ba ta da kauri sosai. Kuma ko ganyen ne za ka ga wannan ganyen wannan ya fi wannan kyau sosai kuwa. Ko baki ne in ka duba za ka ga wannan ta fi kauri da baki da sauransu akan wannan namu na lokwat na gida. To dama an ba mu irin ne a gwada domin mu tantance wanne ne ya fi kyau da kuma auki in an sari an girbi kenan.
Maize is used for many purposes, and the country has the potential to grow this crop as a major source of income and to ensure food security. Major takeaways from this episode include: 1. If you are a maize farmer or you are planning to go into maize farming, don't forget to get improved seeds from the research institutes or agro dealers across the country. And 2, do take advantage of the Maize Farmers Association of Nigeria or a farming cluster to get government support. This is where we draw the curtains tonight on the program. See you again next week. Good night.